Hi everyone and welcome back. I know it's now into March of 2023, but I've been taking a break. Basically, during December, we were overseas and had a wonderful holiday with family, and that was so nice after so many years of not being able to travel. It was just really wonderfully and relaxing, plus, it was super cold, and I even had snow, which I was very excited about. And now I'm back in Sydney and it's sweltering, hence the new background. So I've actually flipped it around. These are my machines behind me, and then I've got a big block out curtain behind that. And then that's the window you normally see out when you actually see me stitching. But it's really hot. So I'm keeping all of that closed. My machines are now covered with a heat-proof fabric covering as well, because the heat pounding through that wall is intense, and I was trying to protect my machines. So that's the first thing I kind of did this year. And now I kind of wanted to go through what I actually want to accomplish this year. So I've got a few goals. My number one is to sew through some of my stash. Like, I'd love to sew through all of it, but there is not enough hours in the day, in the year, to do that. So I am going to take my time, but I am really going to focus on using more of my stash because I have beautiful fabrics. So I want them to have their time. So I'm going to be doing that. My second thing is I want to use my embroidery part of my machine more. It's really fun, and lots of the ways you see embroidery get used are really a little bit generic for my tastes. Lots of left chest logos or really kid-like things. So I wanted to explore embroidery in a more fashion type way. So that's kind of one of my goals for the year, and it's going to be lots of experimenting and lots of seeing how things go. So definitely going to take you through that journey as well. And my third thing I'm going to be working on is I've started a couple of scrappy style quilts. I'm not a quilter by any means, but I obviously generate a lot of fabric waste because I sew a lot. And I want to use the scraps in more meaningful ways. I just don't want to shove them in a bag and call it done. So I've been coming up with different ways, and one of the ways is to make quilts. So I've got a couple where I've maybe got the top of the quilt but not the bottom of the quilt done. I've got some that just need a binding on them. So my goal is to finish those. I think it's three today, three that I've got done so far. I want to get those done so that they'll be all finished and actually usable. So that's one of my things for the year. And then I was scrolling through Instagram during my holidays, as one does, and I saw this most amazing photo of socks. And I kind of fell in love. And I was like, how hard is it to knit a pair of socks? To the Englishman's mum, who is an exceptional knitter, and she was like, oh, it's like no problems. And then the next day at breakfast, she's like, do you actually know how to knit? And I was like, no, not at all. So I had some wonderful crash courses in knitting, so I started to learn to knit. I'm going to do a separate video about that, but yeah, my goal is a pair of socks before the end of the year. And I have no idea if that's massively ambitious or ridiculously easy, because I don't know enough about knitting to know. So that'll be fun to find out what I can do with that. And then my last thing for the year is I bought myself a Hannah Bass needlepoint, which I've been wanting one of these for years. They're so gorgeous. So I don't know if you'll be able to see the mesh properly. So this one is of Cambridge, and I started it while I was on my holiday. And I really want to get it finished this year. So that's my big one. It's going to get lots done during the Tour de France, guaranteed, because that's just a lot of hours of TV watching that I get through. So I want to get this one finished, and I want to turn it into a cushion. But if you're looking for a really beautiful needlepoint, just go check out Hannah Bass. She does beautiful things. It's not an ad. I totally paid for this myself, but I really like her very modern style. Plus it's just really easy because it's just in and out, in and out. And you don't have to think, you just got to follow the color chart. So easy. Yeah, so that's kind of my things for the year. So it's like sewing my stash, working on some projects which are kind of half done, and getting all those bindings done on those quilts, learning to knit, which who knows what I'm going to do with that, and then finishing my needlepoint. So, and my embroidery, obviously. So big goals, lots of things to share. I hope you're going to enjoy the ride.